welcome back to Citizens Speak. I'm your host, Garrett Martin. Thank you so much for joining me again. So, we're the day after the San Bernardino attack. Details still rolling out, but the Senate voted against a bill that would keep suspected terrorists, felons, and mentally ill from buying guns. They had the opportunity to take real action and to do something important for our country. Now, all four of the senators that are running for president, that's Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Lindsey Graham, they voted against this bill. They don't care about these mass shootings. They may say that they're praying that things get better or they're praying for the families. They don't care. This is a simple ploy for them to get more money from the NRA. You have Carly Fiorina as well today who said that, no, we shouldn't keep people who are on the terrorist watch list from being able to buy a gun because they can go out and get a gun illegally anyway. But you see, we're trying to make it just a little bit more difficult for people to buy that gun. We're trying to make things just a little bit more difficult to help deter them from doing this. When the 3-day waiting period to buy a gun was enacted across the country, they said the exact same thing the conservatives did. They said the exact same thing. That, oh, well, if somebody wants a gun, they're going to go out and get it anyway. After we enacted that 3-day waiting period, shootings dropped. Because what we found out was that people wanted to buy a gun right then and there because they were heated and upset. And they wanted to go out and they wanted to get revenge on whoever upset them. So we put the 3-day waiting period in, and hey, murders went down. So we have people who have committed these mass murders in the past here in America. This year, we've had 355 of them so far this year. That's over one a day. But then we have the GOP in the Senate who's able to make real change that will actually help. And they deny it. These people want to run for president. These people want to be the commander-in-chief. They want to lead this country. You want to know why those people block this bill? It's not because of Second Amendment rights. That's what they're saying to keep their votes. It's because the NRA is giving them money for their campaigns. I mean, heck, look at Mitch McConnell. Go and look how much money he's gotten from the NRA for his campaign. His last run. He got almost $1 million from them. Almost $1 million to Mitch McConnell from the NRA. And that's only because of his stance on gun control. You know what his stance is? You know what the GOP who voted against this bill, you know what their stance is? They don't care. They don't want any control whatsoever. They don't want any control. They're perfectly content with your brothers, your sisters, your family members being gunned down in the streets. In North Carolina, you had Dylan Roof, who shouldn't have been able to buy a gun. But because our 3-day waiting period that we have, it's a great step, but it's poorly enforced. And Carly Fiorina, she says, the liberals, every time that there's a mass shooting that happens, it's basically just a knee-jerk reaction. And she says, I actually think it's an ideology, not common sense, that causes the left wing every time in a knee-jerk reaction to say the answer here is more laws, when we're not enforcing the laws that we have. But you see, keeping somebody who's on the suspected terrorist watch list from being able to buy a weapon is a great law to have. I mean, after all, we don't want terrorists to be able to go out and legally buy guns in our country, do we? We don't want to legally supply them the weaponry to go out and kill our citizens, do we? So why wouldn't you want this? She says, well, it's kind of a red herring, honestly. If somebody is a suspected terrorist on a watch list, they can be indicted at any time, and once you're indicted, you can't own a firearm. That's true. Yeah, if you're indicted, you won't be able to own a firearm. But we're not indicting all of these people. You see, if we were, then we wouldn't need this law that's coming on. But we're not. Because there has to be a lot of evidence in order to indict somebody and to try them and to make it so that they can't own a firearm. However, if you put a ban, and it's not a lifetime ban, it's not saying that once you're on the terrorist watch list, you can never own a gun again. If you're on the no-fly list, you can get off of the no-fly list. And then you can fly again. If you're on the terrorist watch list, and you get off the terrorist watch list, you can own a gun again. But the thing is we have a lot of Christian conservatives, a lot of their supporters, a lot of their voters, who this would affect, who give money to them, and they wouldn't vote for this person anymore if they backed legislation like this. That's why you have the GOP candidates, many of them, who are talking against bills like this, who are talking against real change that would save the lives of the people in our nation. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why they're comfortable with supplying terrorists with guns legally. I mean, you shouldn't want that. Joe Scarborough is conducting the interview that I'm pulling the quotes from. And he says that if you're on the terrorist watch list, you can't get on a plane, but you can buy a 223. And Fiorino fires back and she says, you know, my best friend's husband was on the watch list for years. It was a complete mistake. He also happened to be a gun owner. If I had utter faith in the competence of government, I might agree with that. But do you? I don't. So let's use anecdotal evidence to say that we're not against something. Or to say that we are against something, I mean. I just don't get it. I don't get how we can continue to have people die on our streets by people who shouldn't own guns. We have the opportunity to make real change, and not a single thing comes out of it. You guys voted for these people. You are the ones who put these people in office, whether you went out and voted or you didn't. If you voted against these people, then you're fine. But if you voted for these people, then you're voting to have things end up like they are now, where you have more mass shootings than you have days in the year. Give me a break. Give me a break. Paul Ryan had also came out today, and he had talked about why it was good that the Senate rejected this. He says, well, it would infringe too much on the Second Amendment. You have to have regulations when you get to the point that America has come to. I want it to be the land of the free as much as everybody else. But when you have people out there who our country suspects to be terrorists, or they have ideas that this person might cause harm to others, why would you go and let them buy more guns Or why would you let them buy guns legally in the first place? And people say, oh, well, criminals, they're not going to listen to any of the laws. They're just going to break the law anyway. Okay, well, go look at the statistics of the mass shootings this year and look at if those guns were bought legally or illegally. Most of those guns were bought legally. And many of those people had mental illness that we knew about. We had, oh, no, you can't infringe on their Second Amendment rights. Can't infringe upon it. Yet when we prosecute a felon, we continue to hold that against them in our society for the rest of their life. If you're a felon and you want to go get a job afterwards, hey, you got to put down that you were a felon. There's a lot of places that don't hire felons flat out. And if they do hire felons, they'll look at you. And if the person's not comfortable with hiring a felon, well, too bad, Charlie. Too bad. It doesn't matter what you're doing now or what you've done since. It doesn't matter when that felony happened. That stays with you for the rest of your life. Oh, and many states don't allow felons to vote. So they've done their time for the crime that they've committed, and we continue to hold it against them. Yet people who are on a terrorist watch list, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're not going to do anything. Well, you're wrong. They are doing things. They're out there committing the mass murders. And we have our Senate, we have the people who want to lead our country say, oh, no, it doesn't matter. It's okay. They're not going to do anything. We shouldn't infringe upon their rights. No. That's just a bunch of hogwash. If you believe that, you got to wake up, man. You got to wake up. Anybody who's talking against bills like this, legislation like this, look at where your congressmen are getting their money from. Look at where their donations are coming from. You can tell who is going to vote on what issue by where their money comes from. You guys got to wake up. You guys got to get out there and you got to vote these people out. Or else you're going to continue to have problems like this increase even further. You're going to continue to have people shot down in the streets. You're going to continue to have these politicians say, oh, no, they're just politicizing this issue. Don't worry about all the money that's coming into my office. Just go focus on yourself, and hopefully you don't get shot in the meantime. All right. Make sure you guys find me on Twitter at CitSpeak. That's CITZ Speak on Twitter. You can find me on SoundCloud, Spreaker, on YouTube as well, at Citizen Speak on those respectively. Thank you so much for listening, and make sure that you comment. I love to hear your comments. I want to know what you guys think. If I'm wrong, let me know. Let me hear your side of things, and I'll talk about it on here. All right. Have a great rest of the night. Thank you for listening to Citizen Speak. My name is Garrett Martin.